afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing this fine, wonderful afternoon? I am enjoying, well, I mean, it's a little rainy, honestly, and it's nowhere near as warm as it's been the past week and stuff. We got a cold front come through. Everything's going to be wet for the next few, seems like weeks, whatever. But I am super happy on this wonderful, wonderful Friday afternoon, mainly because, as I stated before in a previous video, is that I took the Georgia Class 3 water exam. Now, what does that mean for some of you folks? To become a certified water operator in the state of Georgia, and in most states, every state and stuff, you have to take these certification exams. And now each state has a different level of certification, going from lowest to highest. In the state of Georgia, it works on a numbering system, with the Class 4 being the lowest, the Class 3 being the second lowest, the Class 2 being intermittent, and the Class 1 being the highest. Now, for argument's sake and for simplicity's sake, because I do work in multiple states, so argument's sake and for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to stick with beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Okay, because since I work in multiple states, every state has a different system to grading water and wastewater operators. Now, I am a wastewater operator by trade. So coming into this exam, I'm already familiar with, the familiarities of certain formulas and, similar treatment, final effluent checks for checks and things, similar terminology from my wastewater courses, and also the fact I have 2 degrees in science, so the chemistry and math portion for these type of exams are going to be a little bit easier to me than somebody who's just doing wastewater or somebody who's just doing water. So I passed with this exam, even though my background isn't as strong into water treatment as other operators are. Now, does that mean I don't know anything about water treatment? No, I still know a fair good deal about water treatment. I'm just not a fluent expert, but that's of course going to come with time as I keep working into different facilities, different ways of water treatments, etc., etc. It's just like as a wastewater operator, you get so familiar with just that one type of system, you go to a different system and it's a different beast altogether. You get slightly overwhelmed, but since you're familiar with the basic concepts, always the basic concepts, and understand limitations, permutation, and your permit limitations, you're able to figure it out a lot easier because you get used to it and stuff. And it's the same with water treatment. The rules and regs for water is typically universal standard, and water, from my understanding, depending on the system, is typically the same all the way around, minus a few different kind of additions you have to do because of what type of system you run, or the water source you pull from is also different, like depends on what type of treatments you have to do for it and everything of that nature. So I was able to pass this beginner course relatively easy. I say relatively easy, but I made you have to get a 70 to pass these exams. I'm not going to say what I made, just for argument's sake, but needless to say, I made a 70 or more, right? So these exams are broken down, and I noticed something, and it's very clear that I'm not a water operator by trade, because these exams are broken down into certain classification, 5, categories as to what they are. And for the water, it's broken down into, treatment process, laboratory analysis, equipment operation and maintenance, source water characteristics, and safety, security, and administrative process. So this is just for the Class 3. I don't think it's for the other, or this is just for the beginner. I don't think it's for the intermediate or advanced, but it very well may be broken into that. It's just the percentage of questions in each category may vastly be different. Now, for this water exam, I noticed a lot of these questions, the poorest subject I did on was treatment processes. that's the poor subject I did on it. Why? Because I'm not a water operator by trade, and there's some things I just don't know because I've never seen or even heard of. That's fair enough. But the other sources, the other things like laboratory analyses, equipment operation, maintenance, admin, source water characteristics, for some odd reason, I did extremely well. Almost got 100 in almost all those categories. Extremely well, because a lot of it has to do with my background as a wastewater operator and as a science degree holder, a formal science degree holder. I'm very familiar with certain things and certain processes just because of what I've learned in school and everything. Now, the operation side is something that has to come with time and through experience and through seeing different systems and hearing about different systems and stuff. But I did fairly well on it. Like I said, it was my poorest subject, but I did fairly well in it that I do feel confident enough as a beginner. I think I can handle beginning type water treatment processes. Okay, not intermediate or advanced water treatment processes. So I'm bringing this video because I want to say to all you water operators is, what's the excuse? I'm just playing with you guys. I'm just playing with you guys because there's always been a weird little rivalry between wastewater and water operators. It's more along the lines of like brother syndrome, if you will, about who's better and who's got it more difficult and everything. And as a wastewater operator, I'm going to say wastewater is always more difficult than water operations. But my first starting background was wastewater, so I'm going to be a little bit unbiased. I'm going to be a little bit more biased to say mine's more difficult, and we deal with more shit than you guys do, literally and figuratively. Haha, just joking, guys. But it's just that sort of little rivalry and stuff like that. And we're also, since, like I said, because we're so closely related, a lot of the terminology, a lot of the math, is pretty much the same for both of us. So that also helped me into passing this exam with relative ease versus when I took the Class 3 wastewater exam, because I've had that more background experience. It's something very similar to it, but it is obviously different. You're not drinking the effluent quality, the back end of wastewater. You're drinking the back end of water treatment. So I will say that these exams need to be at that level for some odd reason, for specific reasons. Do I agree that as you get further along, should they be even more difficult? I don't know. I understand the why, but it's just none of my. But I understand the why, but you gotta give a little. In my opinion, there's got to be a 50-50, not my way or the highway type thing. So anyways, that was a tangent that's going to be brought upon my second. That was brought upon that last video I did, and I just wanted to start it out because today is Friday, even though it's rainy and cold and a little bit more wet than it was all week. It still is a good day. Still is a good day because learning has occurred. I did learn things. Okay, I learned that water operators have it easy and wastewater operators don't. Now, I did learn, like what goes into the thought process of creating tests for water operators a little more. I did learn the similarities and differences. Even if I would have failed this test, I would still say that learning did occur because I did learn something. I learned not necessarily what I got wrong, but I would learn what I should focus on more for the next time, if you catch my drift. Because these exams are not going to give you what you got wrong. They'll give you the number of questions you got right, but they won't give you what questions you got right or what specific questions and answers. They won't give you that. They'll only give you, like, let's say they gave 31 questions in the water treatment, and I can look at the sheet. Better yet, the safety, the laboratory analysis. They gave, I had to just quick glance because I'm driving. The laboratory analysis. They gave me 14 questions of laboratory analysis. I got 13 of those right. I don't know which one I got wrong. That's just how those tests are structured and how they're pointed out to things of that nature. It is what it is. So, yeah. But that's the point. Like I said, they pull from this big pool, and it's also to prevent people from taking these tests, remembering the questions, and go ahead and give them the answer. All they do is just study the answer and not actually put deep thought into it. Now, would I like it like that? Hell yeah. It'd make it a lot easier, and I'd be able to get more wastewater operators into the field. But I understand why it isn't. Like I said, it is a personal preference versus a dispersonal preference. Hey, it is what it is. So yeah, I just wanted to start this bit of Friday off with some good news. And hey guys, guess what? It's Friday for most of you. Some of you guys are getting off work today. Some of you guys are probably off, depending on how your time, like how you handle the business and stuff like that. Some of you guys are going to be off today for your weekend. Some of you guys are already off today if you did 410s. Some of you guys are unfortunately going to be working this weekend. But hey, look at the brighter side. You're working. So you got to look at the positives of everything, even if it is a negative. So I just wanted to share that good bit of news with you guys, and I'm just thankful that I had the opportunity to take this exam, and I'm thankful to the support that was given to me for this exam, because I will admit, I was a little bit nervous going into it. I wasn't all the way confident that I was going to pass it, because like I said, I'm a wastewater operator by trade, so I was a little bit nervous going into this exam, but I was able to manage to pass it, and I'm happy to do it. Now I can really dive deeper into water treatment and all what it entails, and become a new expert into, gain skills and knowledge outside of what I typically know. So that's always good. I'm growing. I'm always growing, and that should be something true for everybody out there. For every one of you guys, every one of you wastewater water operators, license holders and stuff like that, don't stop at just getting that license. Now I have the opportunity to get further my license, obviously, because I can go up from beginner to intermediate to advanced. Now I can go around. I'm going to probably go down that path because it's the clearest sight as to advancement. But eventually I will hit a stopping point where I cannot advance technically on that type of certification level, but I can still advance my knowledge-wise. And that's the whole purpose of me doing everything I've done, is to constantly keep advancing, constantly keep learning. Because if you just stay there, and this falls into a lot of people's mundane thing, it's just falling into the same rhythm, the same pattern of doing the same thing over and over again, and you eventually stagnate. And honestly, you are not happy with yourself or life. Because guess what happens? Yes, at first stagnant water is, still water is just still water. But eventually it starts to stagnate, and eventually it starts to stink, and eventually it just feels miserable. And I believe that happens true with the human mind and body. And eventually, if you just replace it with the same thing over and over again without trying to push limitations or without trying to gain a new skill and knowledge, I 100% believe that you will not be able to enjoy life at the fullest and not be able to live a truly fulfilled and happy life. I truly believe that. And sometimes that growth comes naturally. You don't even need to do it. It's just going to happen anyways, because you have no choice but to grow. But for the people who are just like feels this, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. For the people out there listening to this, that feels though you're on a line. If you look at a graph, all of a sudden you're just on a straight line. Like it grew at first, and then all of a sudden it just straightened out. And that's exactly what it feels like. It just straightened out. You need to do something to get that growth to grow back up. Okay? And that means seeking a new challenge, seeking a new mountain, guys have a wonderful time. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend because it's coming up, and I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your time off. If you're working, enjoy that you're working. Okay? So I hope you guys enjoy everything, and I will look forward to the next video because I don't know what we're going to talk about, and that's just how my videos are, and I enjoy it. So as always, everybody, work hard. As always, everybody, give me a like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, work hard. Peace.